My name is Tom Castellano. I'm 44 years old, and I'm about to tell you how my wife's 7-year affair with the man who saved my life in Iraq destroyed everything I believed in, and how I rebuilt from the ashes while ensuring they both paid for their betrayal. It was a Thursday morning in April when my world started its slow collapse, though I wouldn't know it for another 48 hours. I stood in our kitchen in Manassas, Virginia, watching Rebecca pack lunches for our boys while trying to balance my coffee and check emails on my phone. "Don't forget to move that money to Michael's account," Rebecca said, without looking up from the sandwiches she was assembling. "He needs new cleats for baseball." "How much?" 150 should cover it. I made the transfer while she worked. Michael walked in, all 6 feet of 15-year-old athlete, his shoulders nearly filling the doorframe. "Thanks, Dad," he said, checking his phone as the notification came through. "Practice runs until 6 tonight." "I'll pick you up," Rebecca said. "Dad's leaving for his reunion, remember?" "The Marine thing in Richmond?" Michael asked. "Yeah, the Marine thing," I said, smiling at his casual dismissal of something that meant everything to his old man. Danny rushed in, 12 years old and perpetually late, grabbing toast with one hand while shouldering his backpack with the other. "Mom, Mr. Patterson wants to know if you're chaperoning the field trip next week." "Tell him yes," Rebecca said, handing him his lunch bag. "I already sent the permission slip." "Is Uncle Marcus coming to the reunion?" Danny asked me. That name, Marcus Holbrook, the man who dragged me from a burning Humvee in Fallujah in 2005, second-degree burns covering his hands and arms, refusing to let go even when the corpsman tried to pull him away. Master Gunnery Sergeant now, stationed at Camp Lejeune, the kind of Marine they put on recruiting posters. "He'll be there," I said. Rebecca's hand paused for just a fraction of a second as she zipped up Danny's lunch bag. I only noticed because I happened to be looking directly at her. "Tell him I said hi," she said, her voice perfectly normal, turning to wipe down the counter. "Why don't you come with me? The boys could miss one tournament." "Tom, we've discussed this. It's the regional qualifier. They've been working toward this all season." She walked over, rose on her tiptoes to kiss me goodbye. She tasted like coffee and vanilla lip gloss, familiar and comfortable after 14 years of marriage. "Drive safe," she said, her hand briefly on my chest. "Text me when you get to Richmond." "Will do." I loaded my overnight bag into my F-150, noting the oil change sticker on the windshield, overdue by 500 miles. The construction site I managed would run fine without me for 2 days. My foreman, Carlos, had been with me 8 years and knew the business almost as well as I did. The drive to Richmond took 2 hours, giving me time to return calls from suppliers and think about the weekend ahead. 2nd Battalion, 5th Marines had these reunions every year, but this was the 20th anniversary of my first deployment. The big one, as we'd been calling it in the group emails. The Marriott downtown had given us a block of rooms and the use of their conference facilities. I checked in, dropped my bag in room 314, and headed to the bar where I knew the early arrivals would be gathering. Dave Kowalczyk was holding court when I walked in, his broad shoulders and booming laugh unmistakable even from behind. Despite 30 years in America, his Polish accent remained thick, especially after a few beers. "Tom!" "There he is." Dave stood, pulled me into a bear hug that reminded me why we'd called him Crusher in Iraq. "Good to see you, Dave." I ordered a beer, settled onto a bar stool. "Where's your wife?" "Rebecca, right? The pretty redhead?" "Boys have their tournament. She's playing taxi driver all weekend." Something flickered across Dave's face, there and gone so fast I almost missed it. "What?" I asked. "Nothing." He took a long pull from his beer. "Just thought she'd come this time. It's the big anniversary and all. You know how it is. Kids come first." "Yeah," Dave said, but something in his tone was off. "Kids come first." Before I could pursue it, more guys arrived. Tommy Vasquez, looking like he'd never left the Corps despite being out for 10 years. Bill Henderson, who'd lost 40 pounds and found religion since last year. Craig Thompson, still telling the same stories about that night in Ramadi when we'd held off 200 insurgents with 2 squads and pure determination. The story started flowing with the alcohol. Remember when Johnson got so drunk in Okinawa he tried to ride a vending machine? Remember that lieutenant who got lost in his own convoy? Remember when Martinez told that colonel exactly what he thought of his tactical plan? Marcus arrived around 8 that evening. He looked good, still in shape at 46, the kind of conditioning that came from discipline rather than vanity. His hair was regulation short, peppered with gray now, and he wore civilian clothes like they were a uniform, everything pressed and precise. When he saw me, something shifted in his expression before he smiled. It was quick, but I caught it. A flash of something that looked like guilt. "Tom, brother?" We embraced, and I caught a whiff of expensive cologne. Since when did Marcus wear cologne? "How's it going, Marcus?" "Can't complain." "How's Rebecca? Boys doing good?" There was something in the way he said her name, a familiarity that seemed odd, though I couldn't say why. "She's good. At a tournament with the boys. Regional qualifier." "Which tournament?" "The one at the Marriott in Frederick." "Big deal, apparently. Scouts coming and everything?" He nodded, took a long drink from the beer Dave handed him. "That's great. Michael's still playing football, too? Starting varsity next year as a sophomore. Kid's a beast. Gets it from his dad." We talked, but it was different from our usual easy conversation. Marcus kept checking his phone, typing quick responses to texts. In 15 years of friendship, I'd never seen him attached to his phone like this. "Everything okay?" I asked after the 5th time he pulled it out. "Yeah, just, you know, work stuff." "At 8 on a Friday night?" He shrugged. "You know how it is. The Corps never sleeps. Except I did know how it was. Unless things had changed dramatically since my discharge, nobody was texting a master gunnery sergeant about urgent matters on a Friday night. Maybe a hot op, but Marcus was stationed at Lejeune, training boots. What emergency could possibly— "I'm gonna hit the head," Marcus said, standing abruptly. He took his phone with him. Dave watched him go, then leaned closer to me. "He seem off to you?" "Yeah, actually. Distracted." "When's the last time you saw him?" "I mean, in person?" I had to think about it. "Christmas. He came by the house when he was visiting his sister in D.C. "How was that?" "Fine." "Normal? Why?" Dave shook his head. "No reason. Just, I don't know. Something feels different." Marcus came back but left early, claiming exhaustion from the drive. "It's a 3-hour drive," Tommy said after he'd gone. "Since when does that exhaust a Marine?" We stayed until the bar closed at 1, then a group of us continued the party in Dave's room. He'd brought a bottle of Polish vodka that could strip paint, and we passed it around telling lies and remembering the dead. "You ever wonder if your wife's faithful?" Dave asked suddenly, the vodka making him philosophical. "Jesus, Dave," Bill said. "What kind of question is that?" "An honest one. My ex cheated for 2 years before I found out. 2 years. I was deployed for 6 months of it, but still." "How'd you find out?" Craig asked. "Came home early from a training exercise. Found her car at a motel. Sat in the parking lot for 3 hours until she came out with some guy from her gym." "What did you do?" "Divorced her. Took everything I could in the settlement. Started over." He looked at me. "You're lucky, Tom. Rebecca's solid." "Yeah," I said, but Dave's question had planted something uncomfortable in my mind. I got back to my room around 3, drunk enough that the room spun when I closed my eyes. I called Rebecca, expecting voicemail, but she answered on the second ring. "Tom?" "It's 3 in the morning." Is everything okay? Yeah, just wanted to hear your voice. Drunk and sentimental, I guess? She laughed softly. How drunk? Dave had Polish vodka. Oh no, you're going to hate yourself tomorrow. Already do. How'd the boys do today? Michael went 3 for 4. Danny pitched 2 innings, no runs. They're in the semifinals tomorrow. That's great. I'm proud of them. They know. Get some sleep, Tom. Drink water. Love you, Becca. Love you too. But when I hung up, something nagged at me. She'd sounded wide awake for 3 in the morning. And was that traffic noise in the background? Saturday morning came too early and too hard. I stumbled to the breakfast buffet where aspirin was being passed around like communion wafers. Rough night? Marcus asked. He looked fresh, showered, alert. Dave's vodka. That'll do it. He was checking his phone again. Expecting a call? What? No, just habit, I guess. After breakfast, Dave pulled me aside. Want to help me with something? My dad passed last year. Left a storage unit full of stuff. I need to go through it. Could use an extra pair of hands. Now? The reunion doesn't really kick off until tonight. Besides, there's something in there you might want to see. Cryptic much? Just trust me. The storage unit was across town in an industrial area that had seen better days. Dave's father had been a pack rat. Boxes stacked floor to ceiling, furniture covered in sheets, the accumulated detritus of a full life. He kept everything, Dave said, pulling out a box labeled Photos 2000 to 2015. Every picture, every card, every receipt drove my mother crazy when they were married. We worked in companionable silence for a while, Dave sorting through papers while I moved boxes to his truck. Then he handed me a photo album. Remember that barbecue at your place in 2011? The one you missed? My emergency gallbladder surgery. I'd been in the hospital for a week, complications from an infection. Rebecca had insisted on hosting anyway. The guys are counting on it, she'd said. I can handle it. I opened the album. There they were. My Marine brothers in my backyard. Rebecca playing hostess. Everyone raising beers to the camera. I smiled at the familiar faces, some younger versions of men I'd just seen, others who weren't with us anymore. I flipped through the pages, the smile slowly dying on my face. There was Rebecca and Marcus by the pool. Her hand was on his chest and she was laughing at something he'd said, but it was the way she was looking at him. Intimate, familiar. Next photo. Them walking toward the house together, Marcus's hand on her lower back, guiding her. Next. By the garage, standing too close, their bodies angled toward each other like magnets. Next, Marcus leaning down to whisper something in her ear, her face tilted up toward his. Then I turned the page and my world tilted. It was taken through the kitchen window. They were embracing. Not a friendly hug. Rebecca's arms were around his neck, his hands were tangled in her hair, and they were kissing. The kind of kiss that spoke of practice, of passion, of betrayal so complete it took my breath away. My hands were perfectly steady as I turned the page. More photos from the party, normal ones, but I couldn't see them anymore. All I could see was that kiss. Dave, I said, my voice sounding strange and distant. How long have you had these? He sighed heavily, sat down on a box. Found them 2 years ago when Dad first got sick. I didn't know what to do, Tom. I didn't know if I should tell you. 2 years? I kept thinking maybe it was a one-time thing. Maybe it meant nothing. Maybe I was misinterpreting what I was seeing. There's no misinterpreting that kiss. No, he agreed. There's not. Was there more? I asked. Other signs? Dave rubbed his face. Last year's reunion. Marcus left early Friday night, said he had to drive to D.C. for a meeting. I remember. I saw him Saturday morning coming out of the Motel 6 across town. He didn't see me. Maybe he just wanted a cheaper room. Dave gave me a look that said everything. I stood up, pulled out my phone. I need to make a call. I stepped outside into the harsh morning sunlight and called Phil, my neighbor. Retired cop, good guy, the kind who notices everything but minds his own business. Phil, it's Tom. I need a favor and I need you not to ask questions. Okay. Can you drive by the baseball fields at the Marriott in Frederick? See if you spot Rebecca's white Tahoe? Tom, what's... Please, Phil. I'll explain later. Just, I need to know if she's where she said she'd be. Give me an hour. I went back inside. Dave was pretending to sort through boxes, giving me space. I'm an idiot, I said. No, you're a trusting husband. There's a difference. How did I not see it? Because you weren't looking. Because you trusted them both. That's not stupidity, Tom. That's honor. My phone rang 53 minutes later. Tom, Phil said, his voice careful, professional. I'm at the Marriott in Frederick. There's no tournament here. I checked with the desk. There hasn't been a baseball tournament here all month. You're sure? I walked through the entire facility. The fields are empty. I even called the Maryland Youth Baseball Association. No regional qualifiers scheduled anywhere in the state this weekend. Thanks, Phil. Tom, what's going on? I'll call you back. I hung up, pulled up our credit card app on my phone. Started scrolling through charges. There it was. A charge from a Holiday Inn in Durham, North Carolina from yesterday afternoon. Durham was 5 hours from home, 3 hours from Camp Lejeune. I scrolled back further. The pattern emerged like a photograph developing in slow motion. Every 3 months, sometimes more frequently, charges from hotels in North Carolina, always when she said she was somewhere else. Shopping trips with her sister, visiting her college roommate, taking the boys to tournaments. Dave, I said, I need to go. What are you going to do? I don't know yet. Don't do anything stupid, Tom. He's not worth it. Neither is she. I drove back to the hotel in a strange state of calm. In my room, I called Marcus's room. No answer. I went to his door, knocked. Nothing. At the front desk, I asked if he'd checked out. Mr. Holbrook checked out this morning, the clerk said. Around 9. I called his cell. Straight to voicemail. I sat in my room for an hour, staring at the wall, then made a decision. I pulled up Rebecca's location on my phone. We shared locations for safety, she'd always insisted. The irony wasn't lost on me. She was at a Holiday Inn in Durham, North Carolina. The drive took 3 hours. I spent them remembering everything. How we'd met at a college party. Her laugh carrying across the room like music. Our first date at a terrible Italian restaurant where the food was cold, but we were too busy talking to care. Our wedding day, when she'd cried during the vows and made me cry too. The day Michael was born and she'd looked at me with such fierce love, I thought my heart would burst. Danny's birth, complicated and scary, both of us terrified until we heard his first cry. 14 years of marriage, 16 years together. Built on a foundation of lies. The Holiday Inn sat just off Interstate 40, the kind of place traveling salesmen and cheating spouses used. I parked where I could see the entrance and settled in to wait. They came out at 4:15. Rebecca wore the sundress I'd bought her for Christmas, red with small white flowers, the kind that made her hair look like fire in the sunlight. Marcus was in jeans and a polo shirt, casual in a way he never was. They were laughing about something, her head thrown back, his hand on her waist. They stopped by her Tahoe. She reached up, touched his face with such tenderness it made me sick. He leaned down, kissed her. Not a quick, guilty kiss. The kind that spoke of practice, of comfort, of routine. His hands in her hair, hers fisted in his shirt, their bodies pressed together like they were trying to merge into one person. When they finally broke apart, she was smiling. The same smile she gave me when I came home from work. The same smile she'd given me this morning when I'd kissed her goodbye. They got into separate vehicles. Marcus headed east, probably back to Lejeune. Rebecca headed north toward home, where she would pretend she'd been at a tournament, where she would kiss our sons with the same mouth that had just kissed another man, where she would tell me about Michael's batting average and Danny's pitching while her body still carried the scent of her lover. I sat in that parking lot until the sun started to set, engine off, windows down, listening to the steady rush of interstate traffic. Then I drove to a different hotel, checked in, and called a lawyer. James Crawford had been JAG in the Marines, now ran a private practice specializing in military divorces. I'd done a renovation on his house 2 years ago, knew he was sharp as a razor and twice as cutting. James, it's Tom Castellano. I need a divorce attorney. What happened? My wife's having an affair, has been for years. Can you prove it? I saw them together, coming out of a hotel. That's a start. Virginia's an at-fault divorce state. Adultery is grounds. But you'll need more than just seeing them together. Photos, credit card records, witness testimony. How long does that take? Depends on how careful they are. From what you're telling me, not very. Give me 2 weeks to get an investigator on it. Can you pretend for 2 weeks? I don't know. Then don't. Move to the guest room. Tell her you need space, just don't tell her why, not yet. Come see me Monday morning, 9 sharp. I'll be there. And Tom? I'm sorry. Nobody deserves this. I drove home Sunday morning, pulling into our driveway at 11. Rebecca's Tahoe was there, freshly washed like always. She took pride in appearances. She was in the kitchen when I walked in, making lunch. The boys were in the living room, Xbox controllers in hand, yelling at the screen. Hey, she said, smiling brightly. How was the reunion? Good. Saw a lot of the guys. Marcus there? The casual way she said his name, like he was just another Marine, not the man she'd spent the weekend with. Yeah, he was there. How's he doing? Seemed good. Tired, but good. She nodded, turned back to the sandwiches. The boys did great at the tournament. Michael went 3 for 4 in the semifinal. Danny pitched 3 innings, only gave up 1 run. That's great. The lies came so easily to her. No hesitation, no tells, no guilt. How many times had she done this? How many tournaments that didn't exist, shopping trips that were really romantic getaways, visits to family that were visits to her lover's bed? Michael called from the living room. Dad, want to play? In a minute. I watched Rebecca work. This woman I'd loved for 16 years. She hummed as she assembled sandwiches, the same tune she always hummed, something classical I'd never been able to identify. Her hair caught the light from the window, red and gold and copper all at once. She was beautiful still, maybe more beautiful now at 38 than when we'd met at 22. When had I lost her? Or had I ever really had her at all? I'm going to shower, I said. In our bedroom, her phone sat on the nightstand. Her password was our anniversary date. She'd never changed it in all the years we'd been married. The irony of that wasn't lost on me either. I opened her messages. She'd deleted most of them, but there were 3 from a contact labeled M. Jim. Miss you already. Can't wait for next month. Love you. That last one had been sent an hour ago. While I was driving home thinking about how to save my marriage, she was texting love you to another man. I put the phone back exactly as I'd found it, showered, changed clothes, and went to play video games with my sons. That night, Rebecca tried to initiate intimacy. She came to bed in the lingerie I'd bought her for Valentine's Day, black lace that left little to the imagination. I missed you, she said, sliding her hand across my chest. I'm tired from the drive. Too tired. Her hand moved lower. I caught her wrist. Yeah, too tired. She pulled back. hurt flashing across her face. Okay, is everything all right? Everything's fine. But I moved to the guest room after she fell asleep. Monday morning, she confronted me in the kitchen before the boys came down. What's going on, Tom? Why did you sleep in the guest room? I needed space. Space from what? From me? I don't know, Rebecca. I need to think. Think about what? Tom, you're scaring me. Did something happen at the reunion? Why would you ask that? Because you left normal and came back different. Maybe I realized some things. Her face went pale. What things? I don't know yet. That's why I need space to think. Michael walked in before she could respond, saving me from the conversation. Morning, he said, grabbing orange juice from the fridge. Dad, can you pick me up from practice tonight? Mom has her book club. Book club? Is that what she was calling it now? Sure, bud. After everyone left, I drove to Crawford's office. It was in a converted Victorian near the courthouse, all dark wood and legal gravitas. Tell me everything, Crawford said. I did. The photos, the hotels, the text messages, the pattern of deception stretching back years. How long do you think it's been going on? Based on the evidence? At least since 2011. That's 7 years. Crawford whistled low. That's not an affair. That's a relationship. The good news is, Virginia is an at-fault divorce state. Adultery is grounds. The bad news is, you need solid proof. What kind of proof? Photos of them entering or leaving a hotel room together. Private investigator testimony. Text messages, emails, credit card records showing hotel stays. How do I get that? I have a guy. Former FBI. Does this kind of work now? He's not cheap, but he's thorough. How much? 5,000 retainer, probably another 5 to 10,000 depending on how long it takes. Do it. You sure? Once we start this, there's no going back. It's already over, James. She just doesn't know it yet. That afternoon, I met with the investigator, a man named Rodriguez, who looked like an accountant but had eyes that missed nothing. I need everything, I told him. How long it's been going on, how often they meet, where they go. Everything. You'll have it. Give me 2 weeks. But it only took 3 days. Thursday morning, Rodriguez called. Can you meet me at Crawford's office? When I arrived, he had a manila folder 3 inches thick. Your wife isn't very careful, he said, sliding the folder across the desk. The first photo showed Rebecca entering a hotel room at a Marriott in Fredericksburg. The timestamp showed 2:15 p.m. Wednesday, when she was supposedly at her monthly book club. The next photo showed Marcus entering the same room 2 minutes later. The third showed them leaving together 3 hours later. There's more, Rodriguez said. He pulled out credit card statements. Not ours, Marcus's. Your friend has been busy. Jewelry purchases at stores I recognized. The diamond earrings Rebecca said her sister gave her for her birthday. The tennis bracelet she claimed she'd found at an estate sale. Designer clothes from Nordstrom. The ones she said she'd bought on clearance. He's been keeping her, Rodriguez said bluntly, like a mistress. How did you get his credit card records? You don't want to know. But look at this. He pulled out another set of papers. Phone records. They talk every day, sometimes for hours. Always when you're at work. Jesus. There's more. I did some digging on their communication patterns. They use an encrypted messaging app called Signal. It deletes messages automatically. But I found something interesting. He pulled out a printed screenshot from a social media post. It was from 2011, Rebecca's Facebook. A photo from the barbecue, the one where I'd been in the hospital. Her caption read, "Amazing day with amazing people. Some friendships change your life forever." Marcus had been the first to like it. His comment, "Forever is just the beginning." That's circumstantial, Crawford said, speaking for the first time. Maybe, Rodriguez said, but combined with everything else? It paints a picture. 7 years of deception, maybe longer. What about him? I asked. Marcus, what's his situation? Interesting you should ask. Rodriguez pulled out another folder. Master Gunnery Sergeant Marcus Holbrook. Divorced in 2009. No kids. But here's where it gets interesting. He's been married again since 2016. The words hit like a sledgehammer. He's married. Sarah Holbrook lives in California. She thinks he's deployed when he comes here. He's cheating on 2 women? 3, actually. Found evidence of another woman in North Carolina, near Lejeune. I laughed. Actually laughed. The absurdity of it all. My wife was cheating on me with my best friend, who was cheating on her with his wife and another mistress. We have enough, Crawford said. More than enough. The question is, what do you want? I want my kids. I want my house. I want her gone. The house is marital property. You'll likely have to buy her out. The kids, Michael's 15, almost 16. The court will consider his preference. Danny's 12, harder to predict. But if both boys want to stay with you, that carries weight. What about Marcus? We can go after him too. Alienation of affection, criminal conversation. It's harder to prove, but with this evidence. No, I said. I have something else in mind for Marcus. Friday morning, I called Marcus's commanding officer at Camp Lejeune, Colonel James Mitchell, a man I'd served under in Iraq. Tom Castellano. It's been a while. Too long, sir. I wish I was calling under better circumstances. What's going on? It's about Master Gunnery Sergeant Holbrook, sir. I have evidence that he's been conducting an extramarital affair with my wife for the past 7 years. He's also married, making this adultery under the UCMJ. Silence on the other end. You have proof? Photographs, credit card records, phone records. My attorney can send you everything. Do it. If this is true, Tom, this is conduct unbecoming at best, criminal at worst. I know, sir. I'm sorry, son. Marcus was a good Marine. Was being the operative word, sir. That afternoon, Rebecca was served at work. I was in a meeting with a concrete supplier when my phone exploded with calls and texts. I ignored them all. She was waiting in the driveway when I got home, eyes red, makeup smeared, designer suit wrinkled. How could you, she screamed, how could you humiliate me like this? Humiliate you? You've been sleeping with Marcus for 7 years and I humiliated you? The boys were watching from Michael's bedroom window. I saw the curtain move. It's not what you think. I have photos, Rebecca. Credit card records, hotel receipts. It's exactly what I think. Tom, please. We can work this out. We can go to counseling. With what money? The money you've been siphoning into your private account? Oh yeah, I know about that too. She started crying. Huge, gulping sobs that would have broken my heart a week ago. Now I felt nothing. I love you, she said. You have a funny way of showing it. It just happened. We didn't mean for it to happen. For 7 years? It just happened for 7 years? Michael came outside. His face was hard, older than his 15 years. Mom, you should go. She turned to him, reached out. He stepped back. Michael, baby. I'm not your baby, not anymore. He looked at me. I'm staying with Dad. Me too, Danny said from the doorway. His voice was smaller, confused, but determined. Rebecca looked between her sons and me. You turned them against me. No, Rebecca. You did that all on your own. She got in her Tahoe and drove away. That night I sat with my boys and tried to explain what they'd overheard. Your mom and I are getting divorced, I said simply. Because she cheated? Michael asked, his voice flat. How did you… I'm not stupid, Dad. Uncle Marcus hasn't been around in months, but Mom's always texting someone. And those tournaments we supposedly went to? I checked the league website. Half of them never existed. I stared at my oldest son. You knew. I suspected. I just... I hoped I was wrong. Danny was crying silently. Why would she do this? I don't know, buddy. I really don't. Is it our fault? Danny asked. No, God, no. This has nothing to do with you boys. Your mother loves you. She just made some bad choices. 7 years of bad choices, Michael said bitterly. That night, I called Marcus. He answered on the third ring. Tom, shut up and listen. You're done. I've already contacted Colonel Mitchell. Adultery is still punishable under the UCMJ. Your career is over. Tom, wait. You saved my life once. I thought that meant something. I thought we were brothers. We are brothers. No, we're nothing. You're nothing. You betrayed everything. Your honor, your integrity, our friendship. For what? For her? I love her. Then you can have her. But know this. You destroyed 2 families. 3, actually. I called your wife. Silence. Yeah, Marcus. Sarah knows. She knows everything. Every trip, every lie, every other woman. Other woman? There's no other. Jessica Martinez lives in Jacksonville. Ring a bell? He hung up. The next 2 weeks were a blur of lawyers, meetings, and paperwork. Rebecca tried everything. She cried, she raged, she begged. She had her parents call me. Tom, her mother said, she made a mistake. Don't throw away 14 years of marriage over a mistake. 7 years of mistakes, Patricia. That's not a mistake, that's a choice. 1,000 choices to lie to me, to our children. Her father was less forgiving. I'm ashamed of her, he said simply. You deserved better. The boys deserve better. Marcus was court-martialed within a month. Reduction in rank, forfeiture of pay, forced retirement, no prison time. His service record bought him that much, but his career was over. His wife divorced him immediately, took him for everything in the California settlement. Rebecca's real estate business collapsed when word got out. Military communities are small, and nobody wanted to buy a house from the woman who'd cheated on a Marine with another Marine. I'm being blacklisted, she complained during one of our custody exchanges. That's not my problem. I can't pay my bills. Get a different job. Tom, please. I'm sorry. How many times do I have to say it? You can say it 1,000,000 times. It doesn't change anything. The divorce was finalized 6 months after I'd seen those photos in Dave's storage unit. The judge awarded me primary custody. Michael's testimony had been particularly damaging. He'd told the judge about the fake tournaments, the times Rebecca had left them with neighbors so she could meet Marcus, the lies upon lies upon lies. My mother chose her affair over her family, he'd said, 16 years old now, and speaking with the clarity of someone twice his age. I choose to stay with the parent who puts family first. Rebecca got every other weekend and Wednesday dinners. She had to pay child support. Not much given her reduced circumstances, but the principle mattered. I kept the house, but had to buy out her equity. It was worth it to keep the boys stable. She moved into a small apartment across town, a 2-bedroom in a complex that had seen better days. Marcus had disappeared, transferred to California to be near his ex-wife, who wanted nothing to do with him, then discharged, then gone. He just left, Rebecca told me one day when she was picking up the boys. Said he couldn't handle the pressure. You mean he couldn't handle the consequences? I gave up everything for him. No, Rebecca. You threw everything away for him. There's a difference. Michael thrived in the aftermath. His grades improved. He made varsity football as a sophomore, got his first girlfriend, a sweet girl named Ashley who seemed to worship the ground he walked on. Don't be like Mom, he told me one night after bringing Ashley home to meet me. That's what I told her. I said my mom cheated on my dad and destroyed our family, and if you ever cheat on me, we're done. No second chances. That's a bit harsh, don't you think? Is it? You gave mom your whole life. She gave you lies. Seems pretty simple to me. Danny struggled more. He was younger, couldn't understand how someone could lie so comprehensively for so long. We put him in therapy, which helped. I just don't understand, he said after one session. How could she look us in the eye every day and lie? I don't know, buddy. I don't think she knows either. 8 months after the divorce, I met Sarah at a youth football game. Her son played on Danny's team. She was widowed. Her husband had been killed in Afghanistan 3 years earlier. I'm sorry, I said when she told me. Thank you. I'm sorry about your divorce. Danny told my son about it. Kids talk. Yes, they do. Danny says your wife cheated with your best friend? My Marine brother. Guy who saved my life in Iraq. She winced. That's next-level betrayal. Yeah, it was. We started talking at games, then grabbing coffee after practices. She was easy to talk to. Understood loss, understood betrayal, understood the difficulty of single parenting. The hardest part, she said one day, is learning to trust again. My husband didn't choose to leave me, but he still left. Your wife chose to leave. I don't know which is worse. Both have their own special flavor of pain. She laughed at that. She had a great laugh, full and unrestrained. We took it slow. Coffee became lunch, lunch became dinner. The boys liked her, especially Danny. She helped with homework, came to games, never tried to replace Rebecca. Your mom is your mom, she told Danny once when he asked if he should call her Sarah or Mrs. Patterson. I'm just Sarah. Your dad's friend who thinks you're pretty awesome. Dad's girlfriend, Danny corrected, grinning. She looked at me, eyebrow raised. Is that what I am? If you want to be. I want to be. A year after the divorce, Rebecca started dating someone new. Some guy named Brian she'd met online. Investment banker, divorced, 2 kids of his own. He seems nice, Danny reported after a weekend at Rebecca's. Good for her, I said, and mostly meant it. He's nothing like Marcus, Michael added. Shorter than mom, kind of nerdy. Has a Tesla. A Tesla. Yeah. He let me drive it in the parking lot. It was pretty cool. But Brian didn't last. Neither did Todd the accountant or Steve the restaurant owner or Paul the pilot. She's looking for Marcus, Sarah observed one night. We were sitting on the back deck watching the boys throw a football in the yard. Or maybe she's looking for you. She had me. No, she had the idea of you. The safety and stability of you while she had the excitement of him. Now she's trying to find both in one person. That's very insightful. I watch a lot of Dr. Phil. I laughed, pulled her closer. We'd been together 6 months at that point, taking things slow but steady. Move in with me, I said suddenly. She turned to look at me. What? Move in with me. You and Bobby. We've got the room. The boys get along. I love you. You love me? Yeah, have for a while now. I love you too. So move in. Okay. It was that simple. Sometimes the best things are. Rebecca lost her mind when she found out. You're moving another woman into our house? She screamed over the phone. My house? You lost claim to it when you chose Marcus. My children live there. And they're excited about Sarah and Bobby moving in. They helped clean out the guest room for him. You're replacing me. No, Rebecca. I'm moving on. There's a difference. Sarah and Bobby moved in 2 weeks later. It was an adjustment. 4 people to 6, the dynamics of blending families. But it worked. Sarah brought warmth back into the house, laughter into our dinners, joy into our weekends. This is what a family is supposed to feel like, Danny said one night at dinner, then immediately looked stricken. I didn't mean, it's okay, I said. I know what you meant. Michael nodded. It's different. Better. Different how? Sarah asked. Michael thought about it. Mom was always somewhere else, even when she was here. Like she was playing a part. You're just here. Here is good, Sarah said, smiling. Marcus resurfaced 18 months after the divorce, sending me an email that Crawford forwarded. He wants to apologize, Crawford said. Says he needs closure. He needs absolution. That's not my job. You could hear him out. Why? Because carrying anger is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. Who said that? My ex-wife, right before she took half my assets. But I did read the email. It was long, rambling, full of justifications dressed as apologies. I never meant for it to happen, he wrote. That day at the barbecue, she was just so beautiful, so sad about you being in the hospital. We drank too much. One thing led to another. Then we couldn't stop. I know I betrayed you. I know I violated everything we stood for. You were my brother. And I threw that away for something that wasn't even real. She didn't love me. She loved the idea of me. The danger, the secrecy. Once it was exposed, it died. I lost everything. My career, my honor, my best friend. 2 wives, my reputation. And for what? For a woman who dropped me the moment things got difficult. I'm in therapy now. PTSD, they say. Moral injury. Survivor's guilt. All labels for the fact that I'm a terrible person who did terrible things to good people. I don't expect forgiveness. I just needed you to know that I know what I did. I know what I destroyed. And I'm sorry. I didn't respond. What was there to say? Rebecca, meanwhile, was spiraling. She'd lost another job, couldn't keep a relationship, was drinking too much, according to Michael. She had a glass of wine in her hand the entire weekend, he reported after a visit. And she kept crying about how she messed everything up. Did she say anything specific? Just that she's lost everything and it's all her fault. Oh, and Marcus is engaged. What? Yeah, she saw it on Facebook. Some woman in California. Mom lost it. I looked it up that night. Sure enough, there was Marcus, smiling next to a blonde woman, her left hand displaying a sizable diamond. Good for him, Sarah said, looking over my shoulder. Really? No, not really. But the best revenge is living well, right? We're living well. Yes, we are. 2 years after the divorce, Sarah and I got married. Small ceremony in our backyard, the same backyard where Rebecca and Marcus had started their affair. The irony wasn't lost on me, but it felt like reclaiming the space. Michael was my best man. In his speech, he said, "My dad taught me that when someone breaks your trust, you don't let it break you. You rebuild stronger." Sarah, thank you for helping him rebuild. And thank you for showing us what a real partnership looks like. Danny, now 14 and taller than his mother, added, Sarah makes my dad laugh again. That's all I need to know. Rebecca wasn't invited, but I heard she drove by during the ceremony. Her parents came, though. We're so sorry, Patricia said, hugging me after the ceremony. We raised her better than this. She made her choices, I said. Bad ones, Robert added. But you made good ones. Sarah's lovely. Be happy, Tom. I am. And I was. For the first time in years, I was genuinely happy. Bobby started calling me Dad after about 6 months. My boys were fine with it. They'd become brothers in everything but blood. Sarah got pregnant a year later. Emma was born on a snowy December morning, perfect and tiny in hours. She's beautiful, Rebecca said when she saw her during the kid exchange. Congratulations. Thank you. I mean it, Tom. I'm glad you're happy. Are you? She smiled sadly. I'm getting there. Therapy helps. AA helps more. AA? 6 months sober, It doesn't fix what I did, but at least I can think clearly about it now. That's good, Rebecca. Really. I know you'll never forgive me. I forgave you a long time ago. For my sake, not yours. But forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. It doesn't mean trusting. It just means I don't carry the anger anymore. That's more than I deserve. Maybe, but it's what I need. Michael left for Virginia Tech on a full football scholarship. His girlfriend Ashley was going to James Madison, close enough to maintain the relationship. Don't cheat, I told him as we loaded his truck. Dad, please. I learned from the master class of what not to do. Your mother wasn't all bad, Mike. No, but she was bad enough when it counted. Danny, now a junior in high school, was being recruited by MIT and Carnegie Mellon for computer science. He'd built an app that helped veterans find mental health resources, inspired, he said, by Marcus. He's a cautionary tale, Danny explained. Untreated trauma making you hurt everyone around you. That's very mature of you. Therapy gives you perspective. Rebecca had finally found stability with a man named Carl. Owned a chain of dry cleaners, divorced, 3 adult kids. They'd been together a year. He's boring, Michael observed. Like really boring. But he worships Mom, so I guess that's what she needs. Everyone needs something different, Sarah said. Your mom needs stability and adoration. Nothing wrong with that. Dad needs honesty and partnership, Danny added. What do you need? I asked him. Pizza. I need pizza. We laughed, ordered pizza, had a family night that felt complete even with Michael away at college. 3 years after remarrying, Sarah and I had another child. Thomas Jr., though we called him TJ. The boys doted on him, and even Rebecca seemed genuinely happy for us. You built something beautiful, she said one day when dropping off Danny. The family we should have had. We had our chance. No, I had my chance. And I threw it away for excitement that turned out to be nothing but lies and adrenaline. Marcus lied to you too? Constantly. Other women, where he was, what he was doing. I was so stupid, Tom. I threw away gold for pyrite. Fool's gold. Exactly. Marcus sent another email on what would have been our 20th anniversary. Crawford forwarded it without comment. Tom, it read, today would have been your 20th anniversary. I know because I remember your 10th. I gave a toast at your party about brotherhood and loyalty. The irony isn't lost on me. I'm writing because my therapist says I need to make amends. Not for forgiveness, but for my own growth. So here it is. I'm sorry. Not just for the affair, but for every lie, every betrayal, every moment I looked you in the eye and pretended to be your brother while stabbing you in the back. You saved my life in Fallujah as much as I saved yours. You gave me purpose, friendship, a family. And I destroyed it all because I was selfish and weak and convinced myself I deserved something that wasn't mine. My ex-wife is remarried now. Happy. My fiancée left when she found out about Rebecca and the others. I'm alone, which is what I deserve. I work security at a mall in Riverside. I see families every day and think about what I destroyed. I don't expect a response. I just needed you to know that I understand the magnitude of what I did, and that you deserved better from someone who called himself your brother. Semper Fi, though I know I don't deserve to say it anymore. Marcus? This time I did respond. Just 2 words. I know. Sarah saw me send it. You okay? Yeah, just closing a chapter. Good. Because dinner's ready and TJ threw his food at Emma again. The glamorous life of a family man. Wouldn't trade it for anything. Neither would I. 5 years after the divorce, Michael graduated from Virginia Tech. He'd proposed to Ashley the night before. She'd said yes. They were planning a fall wedding. Don't be like them, Ashley told me at the graduation party. Michael's terrified of becoming his mother. He won't. He's got too much integrity. He says you taught him that. Life taught him that. I just provided the object lesson in what happens when you lose it. Rebecca came to the graduation with Carl. She looked good, healthy, clear-eyed, at peace. She and Sarah had developed an odd friendship over the years, bonding over the complexities of co-parenting. "Thank you," Rebecca said to me at the party, "for not poisoning them against me. They didn't need poisoning. They had eyes. Still, you could have made it worse. You didn't. I wanted them to have a mother, even after everything. Especially after everything. Kids need both parents, even flawed ones. I was more than flawed. Yes, you were." She laughed, surprising me. "Therapy has made me very comfortable with uncomfortable truths. Good for you. Tom, can I ask you something?" "Sure. Did you ever love me? Really love me?" "Every day until I saw those photos. Then it was like a switch flipped. Just like that? Just like that. Love requires trust. Once the trust was gone," I shrugged, "I still love you." "No, you don't. You love the idea of what we had. But what we had wasn't real. You made sure of that. It was real to me." "Was it? Was it real when you were with Marcus? Was it real when you were lying about tournaments? Was it real when you were using our children as cover for your affair?" She had no answer. Danny graduated MIT 2 years later, already recruited by a defense contractor working on veteran support systems. His girlfriend, Maria, was a doctor finishing her residency. "I'm going to do it right," he told me the night before graduation. "No lies, no betrayal, just honesty. That's all it takes." "That's everything, Dad. That's literally everything." Marcus died that summer. Heart attack at 52. I found out from Dave, who'd seen the obituary online. "You going to the funeral?" Dave asked. "No." "He was your brother once." "He was." "Then he wasn't. Choices have consequences, but I did send flowers." The card read, "For the Marine you were, not the man you became." Rebecca called me crying when she heard. "He's gone, Tom." "He's really gone." "He's been gone for years, Rebecca." "I loved him." "You loved the fantasy, the danger, the excitement, the secrecy. You never loved the real him." "How do you know?" "Because the real him was a serial cheater who betrayed everyone who ever trusted him. That's not lovable, that's just sad." She hung up on me. Michael's wedding was beautiful. October in Virginia, leaves changing, perfect weather. Ashley looked radiant. Michael looked nervous but happy. In his groom's speech, he said, "My parents' marriage taught me what not to do. My dad's second marriage taught me what to do. Sarah, thank you for showing me what real love looks like. Ashley, I promise you'll never have to wonder where you stand with me. You'll always be first." Rebecca cried through the entire ceremony. Not sad tears, she clarified later, but tears for what could have been. "That should have been us," she said to me at the reception. 25 years married, watching our son get married, growing old together. But it's not. Because I ruined it. Yes. Do you ever think about what would have happened if I hadn't cheated? No. Because you did cheat. For 7 years. That's who you are. That's who I was. Maybe. But I'll never know for sure, will I? Carl found us talking, gently steered Rebecca away. He was good for her. Stable, patient, forgiving of her past. Everything I couldn't be anymore. "You happy?" Sarah asked, sliding her arm around my waist. "Incredibly. No regrets?" "None." "You?" "Just one." "What?" "That I didn't meet you first. If you'd met me first, I wouldn't have been who I am now." "Good point. Then I'm glad everything happened exactly as it did." Emma, now 8, and TJ, 5, were dancing with Danny and Maria. Bobby, 17 and looking more like his late father every day, was teaching some of Michael's football teammates how to do a proper push-up. "We did good," Sarah said. "We did great." The next Christmas was the first time in years that everyone was together. Michael and Ashley announced they were pregnant. Danny and Maria got engaged. Bobby had been accepted early admission to West Point. "You're joining the Army?" I asked, surprised. "Someone's got to continue the family tradition of service," he said. "Might as well be me." "I'm proud of you." "Thanks, Dad." Rebecca and Carl hosted Christmas dinner. It was awkward at first, all of us under one roof, but the kids made it work. Even Marcus's ghost couldn't dampen the joy of grandchildren on the way. "You know what I realized?" Rebecca said to me while we were cleaning up. "I spent 7 years chasing something that didn't exist. Marcus and I, we were playing roles. The forbidden lovers, the tragic romance. But it was all just adrenaline and lies." That's a hell of a realization. Therapy, lots and lots of therapy, and watching you and Sarah, your partners, real partners. Marcus and I were just two selfish people using each other. What about Carl? Carl's my penance. He's good and kind and boring and everything I need to keep myself grounded. I'll never set his world on fire, but I won't burn it down either. That's honestly kind of sad. It's realistic. I'm a 46-year-old woman who destroyed her family for a 7-year affair. I'm lucky to have Carl. Do you love him? I'm learning to. It's different from what I felt for you or Marcus. Quieter. Safer. Safer? I can't trust myself with passion anymore. Look what I did with it last time. Spring brought Michael and Ashley's son, William Thomas Castellano. They called him Will. Holding my grandson for the first time, I thought about the long road that had brought us here. "He's perfect," Rebecca said when she met him. She and Carl had driven down to Virginia to see him. "Yeah, he is." "Remember when Michael was born?" "I remember." "You cried?" "So did you." "We were so young, so naive." "We were." "Tom, I need to tell you something." "Okay." "Marcus contacted me before he died. Wanted to meet. To talk about us, about what we'd done. And I didn't go. I couldn't. Because I finally understood that what we had wasn't love. It was mutual destruction. We destroyed everything good in our lives for something that was never real. That's a hard lesson. The hardest, but necessary. That summer, Danny and Maria got married. A small ceremony in her family's backyard in Texas. Her family was huge, warm, welcoming. They embraced Danny like he'd always been theirs. "No secrets," Maria's father told me. "That's the rule in our family. No secrets, no lies. Everything else can be worked out." That's a good rule. My wife's first husband was like your ex-wife. Secretive, always scheming. Nearly destroyed her. We've been married 25 years now and we've never had a secret between us. That's the way to do it. Sarah was pregnant again. A surprise at 42, but a welcome one. Another boy. We named him David, after Dave Kowalczyk, who died that spring from a heart attack. "He was a good man," I said at Dave's funeral. "He saw the truth and had the courage to show it to me, even though it hurt." That's real friendship. In his will, Dave left me the photo album. A note was attached. Sometimes the worst thing that happens to you becomes the best thing. You're proof of that. Fall brought changes. Bobby left for West Point. Emma started middle school. TJ began kindergarten. Michael and Ashley bought a house 3 streets over from ours. "Want to keep the grandkids close?" Michael explained. "And the free babysitting," Ashley added, laughing. Rebecca and Carl moved to Florida. Carl's business was expanding there, and Rebecca wanted a fresh start. 20 years in this town is enough," she said. "Too many ghosts. What about the boys? They're men now. They don't need me hovering. And let's be honest, they come to you for everything important anyway. They love you. They tolerate me. They love you and Sarah. That's okay. I earned it." The day before they left, Rebecca came by the house one last time. "I need to say something," she said. Okay, I'm sorry. Really, truly sorry. Not just for the affair, but for all of it. The lies, the manipulation, using the boys as cover, making you doubt yourself, all of it. I know. Do you forgive me? I told you. I forgave you years ago. But do you really? Rebecca, forgiveness doesn't mean it didn't happen. It doesn't mean it didn't hurt. It just means I don't carry it anymore. I've built a life that makes me happy. The affair led to the divorce, which led to Sarah, which led to Emma and TJ and David. Would I change it if I could? I don't know. Because changing it would mean not having what I have now. I'd change it. That's because you lost. I won. Did you? Win, I mean? Look around, Rebecca. I have a woman who loves me, who I trust completely. I have 5 kids who are all thriving. I have a grandchild with more on the way. I have a career I'm proud of. What part of that isn't winning? She left the next morning. I heard she cried the whole way to Florida. Christmas that year was at our house, Michael, Ashley, and Will, Danny and Maria, Bobby home from West Point, Emma playing piano, TJ and David causing chaos, Sarah orchestrating it all with grace and humor. This is perfect, she said that night, after everyone had gone home or to bed. It is. Do you ever think about how different it could have been? No, this is how it was supposed to be. Even with all the pain? Especially with all the pain. It taught us what matters. What matters? Truth, trust, loyalty, family. Everything else is just noise. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. I opened it. Tom, it's Marcus's sister. I wanted you to know that he left you something in his will. He said you'd understand. It's being sent to your house. I showed Sarah the text. You going to accept it? I don't know. Depends what it is. It arrived 3 days later, a small package with a letter attached. Tom, the letter read, this is the challenge coin from my first deployment. You gave it to me when I made sergeant. You said it was for brotherhood that transcends blood. I don't deserve to keep it. Maybe someday you can give it to someone who won't betray what it represents. I'm sorry for everything. Marcus! I held the coin, remembering the young Marine I'd mentored, the friend who'd saved my life, the brother who'd betrayed me. What are you going to do with it? Sarah asked. Save it for Bobby. When he graduates from West Point, he'll understand what it means. And what does it mean? That brotherhood is earned, not given. That trust is sacred. That some betrayals cut so deep they change who you are forever. That's a heavy burden for a coin. It's a heavy lesson for a life. That night, I put the coin in my safe, next to my own medals and memories from a different life. In the morning, I'd wake up to Sarah's warmth, David's crying, the chaos of a full house. But tonight, I sat with the weight of the past, understanding finally that some stories don't have happy endings. They just have endings. And sometimes that's enough. Sometimes the ending of one story is really the beginning of a better one. Marcus and Rebecca had given me that, without meaning to. They'd destroyed my first life so completely that I'd been forced to build a better one. I wouldn't thank them for it, but I wouldn't curse them for it either. It just was what it was. A betrayal that became a gift, a tragedy that became a triumph, a brotherhood that died, so a family could truly live. The coin sat in my safe, waiting for Bobby to earn it properly. And somewhere in Florida, Rebecca was starting over yet again. And somewhere in the afterlife, Marcus was probably still trying to justify what he'd done. But here, in my house, with my family sleeping safely around me, I was exactly where I was supposed to be. The brotherhood had been betrayed, but something stronger had taken its place. Something real. Something unbreakable. Something worth fighting for. And that, in the end, was the greatest revenge of all.